Yay, we're on again. Welcome back, everyone. It's another episode of Paranormal, and we are your hosts. I am Rachel, and
I am Kaz.
that was great.
Wasn't it? I'm thinking of becoming a professional announcer, singer.
Oh, that's good.
It'd be
That's
great.
good. I don't know how much
Yeah.
money you're gonna make, but
Clearly, I don't think I can retire anytime soon.
that's
Probably
fantastic.
need to get a couple of extra jobs. But I sing like weirdly all the time when I'm at work. I'll be like, whenever you're ready, get up off the table and come on out. Like, I don't know. It's like an afternoon special.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
bizarre.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So when this episode airs, we will have just come back. Well,
Mm,
the day before from our
mm.
favorite place in the world
Oh
where we got
my
to spend.
gosh. I'm trying not to get excited because you just never know what's going to happen.
I
And I
know.
don't want to be all excited and then it's kind of a letdown, but I don't think it'll be a letdown.
I know.
When has it ever been a
So,
letdown?
so everyone, if you haven't watched the live, because we went live with the Paranormal Seekers, because that's who we are. We just got back from our fourth/fifth stay at Wildwood Sanitarium
Wildwood
in Salamanca, New York,
Sanitarium.
the place that just can't let us go.
Yeah. At
So
this
that's where
point,
we
I
were.
think we've probably paid their mortgage. So maybe
Hey,
we part own it at this.
oh, we should just ask them. Can we just get a plaque somewhere?
We should, like most often here. Because
We are the
this is not the
unofficial Canadian group.
yes, we should be. Because this is not the only time we're going to be there this year.
No,
We might be there. For sure we're going another time, but probably even if we have another
be a
random
time in
weekend.
between.
Yeah, Ryan will be like, "Hey, I booked Wildwood," and we'll be like, "See you there."
But we are going to be going to a different part of New York in July. And we'll probably do a whole episode on that afterwards, but
Of
that's in our vacation
course.
time. So we won't be doing it. Well, we could do an episode there. You never know. Maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll see.
We'll
We'll see.
definitely be
We'll
going
see.
live there though.
I don't know what we'll do. Who knows what we will do?
That's in July. So heck, we could even do a whole live on the road trip down because it's quite a drive.
Oh, we're gonna have to do something to keep us occupied.
Totally. Hey, chat GPT.
Oh, Chat GBT with your pervy stories.
That's amazing. And we will most likely be driving through. And actually, Wildwood is actually located in this area, and we'll probably be driving through it. But our topic today
Mm.
is now, depending on who you talk to, it's either Appalachia or Appalachian. So really,
Or if you're my iPhone, alpaca.
Alpaca Mountain.
It's my background today with the alpaca ghosts.
I love how
That's
that
one
one
of
is like perfectly just staring.
was I know, and he's like on my little hand. Yeah, that's one of the best autocorrects my phone has done.
Well, I think one of the best will be Penetanguishene when it was
Oh
Penguin
my
Time
god,
Machine.
Penguin Time Machine.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that in the next episode. So yeah. I know.
Amazing.
I
So many good things coming up.
It's because we
This is
are good things. We have so much fun, and we also have a bunch of investigations planned and public events, and I can't wait.
I know. Spring has sprung, and so has our busy time in
Oh, yeah.
abundance.
Yeah. The sun is out right now. It's outside because we're actually recording
Um,
this during the day, and the
yeah,
sun is currently out. Maybe not where you are yet.
not where I am. It's coming. It was out this morning and it was beautiful. The birds were like, and
Yeah.
I was like,
I
ah.
heard so I heard those 6 a.m. birds, whatever the fuck they're I don't know which exact birds like to sing at the ass crack of dawn, but I
Mhm.
heard them the other day and it was the most magical thing for me at this time of year. Give it a month or so and I might not like it.
He'll be like, shut up.
Yes. Why? But no, I heard one and I was like, oh my god, it's a happy bird. And then I went back to
I
sleep.
know. It's just nice here in this part of Canada where we've been under 50 feet of snow for 5 long months. It's just nice
Yeah.
that we now are starting to see nature again.
Yeah, the green shit's coming up in
Grass,
my garden, and it's sprouting like a
animals. Good.
no.
Excellent. Oh,
It
you don't
makes me
like grass?
happy, and then I hate it because I hate gardening. So I just look at it and go,
Oh,
I can't wait till you start to die so I can cut you down.
I love gardening and I have too many plants inside the house that I brought in that now need to go back out, but they can't go out yet. And I get too excited
You're
this time
talking
of
to a
year.
person who killed an aloe vera plant. I could probably kill a
What?
cactus. I could probably kill a cactus. I can't do it.
You probably kill all of
I'm a
them.
plant hospice worker. You bring it to me so it can die nicely. That's
Oh
literally
dear.
it. But anyways, speaking of green and potentially
Yes.
dying, let's get on with the topic.
The Appalachian Mountains. All right. Well, I guess I'll begin because I got all the good stuff to go. So let's talk about them. Appalachian Mountains stretch about 2,400 miles. So that is 3,900 kilometers, depending which ones of our fans you are. They run from the Canadian island of Newfoundland all the way down to Alabama in the United States. The mountain chain passes through 13 US states and parts of Canada, which, if you're anything like me, had no idea the Appalachian Mountains were in Canada. So they go from Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, Maine, and New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Quebec, and Newfoundland and Labrador. The major sections include the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains, the Allegheny Mountains, I don't know, Cumberland Mountains.
Allegheny?
Sure.
like
All
the
right.
insane island?
The tallest peak is Mount Mitchell in North Carolina, which is 6,684 feet, which, for you Americans, 2,037 meters tall. I don't know if that's for the Americans. Yeah, they do it in that whatever
Yeah,
one. Anyways,
whatever. One that we don't.
exactly the opposite to us.
But we know it.
These mountains are over 480 million years old, making them older than the Atlantic Ocean. Who checks? How do you know how old the Atlantic Ocean is? I guess younger than 480 million years. And once with the same mountain system ranges in Scotland and Morocco before the continents split. So let's look at the timeline. 483 to 300 million years ago, the mountains start to form. The Appalachians began forming during several continental collisions, especially the massive geological event known as the Alleghanian
Well, okay,
orogeny.
How do you spell it?
Alleghanian.
Alleghanian?
Alleghanian.
There you go.
Yeah. Again, another episode where I have all of these words where I have to try and phonetically spell them out. And everyone's like, it's not Okanagan, it's Okanagan or whatever. Anyways, at the same time, a supercontinent Pangaea was forming, and the mountains created were once as tall as the Himalayas. Over hundreds of millions of years, erosion has worn them down to the rounded mountains that we see today. 12,000 years ago, the first humans arrived. Archaeological evidence shows indigenous people living in the region shortly after the last ice age, which is kind of what we've just been through here in Canada. Major cultures included the Cherokee people, the Shawnee people, and the Iroquois Confederacy. They hunted, farmed, and built extensive trade networks throughout these mountains. In the 1500s and 1600s, the first European exploration happened. Spanish explorers may have reached parts of the region in the 1500s. One of the first Europeans known to cross the interior mountains was John Lederer in 1669, who explored the Blue Ridge Mountains. His accounts described vast forests, rivers stretching beyond the mountains. In the 1700s, the settlers moved in. European settlers began moving into the mountains. Many immigrants came from Scotland, Ireland, and Germany. These settlers helped create Appalachian culture, blending European traditions with indigenous knowledge of the land. In the 1800s, isolation and frontier life. Because the mountains were difficult to cross, many communities became extremely isolated. These isolations helped create unique dialects, folk music traditions, and rich storytelling traditions. Many of the ghost stories from the region come from this time period. In the late 1800s, we have a coal mining boom. Large coal deposits were discovered in parts of the Appalachia. Mining companies built towns across West Virginia, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania. Mining life was very dangerous and led to many tragedies, which also feeds local ghost stories. In 1925, the Appalachian Trail begins. The famous hiking route known as the Appalachian Trail was proposed by Benton McKay. Today, it stretches 2,190 miles from Georgia to Maine. And today, around 25 million people live in the border of the Appalachian region. The mountains are now home to national parks, protected wildlife, small rural communities, and thousands of hikers each year. Yet, many remain remote and mysterious. Almost most areas mapped, but some remain extremely remote. So the reason could just be that the forest is too dense, this terrain is too steep. There's a lot of caves and abandoned mines. The Dolly Sods Wilderness was once described as so difficult that few explorers have penetrated it. And that was back in the 1800s. The regions contain one of the largest cave systems in the world, especially around Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. Some of these areas are still restricted because they are national parks, protected by wilderness, have protected wilderness and have very dangerous mine zones. So that is the beginning of them. And essentially, it's a big ass place, big ass forest, big ass mountains. Any questions? Other than, can you repeat how you say those words? The answer is
Where
no.
did it start again? Oh my gosh. Yeah, but there's a lot of big ass weird shit that happens in those woods.
Yeah.
You all thought like the backwoods of the deep south were scary. These woods up here are like can be pretty terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And for some, like I said, who didn't know, Wildwood Sanitarium and I believe Hinsdale House are in the Appalachian area, right? They are part of those mountains. We drive through them and we're like, oh wow, it's so pretty. And of course, my dumb brain goes, I wonder if Bigfoot's out there. Well,
maybe he's watching us be like, is that those weird Canadians again?
Oh my god. So I dug into some of the like creepy history, like of the things that are in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one that I found that seems to come up a lot is the Wampus cat.
Wampus cat.
No, the Wampus cat. All right. So it says somewhere deep in the shadows of the Appalachian, whatever, I don't know, mountains where the trees grow thick, the fog settles low, which we've seen, and the line between folklore and reality blurs, you'll hear the whispers of something watching back, which is literally everything in this forest. But they call this one the Wampus cat. So now, depending on who you ask, the Wampus cat isn't just one thing. So it's part mountain lion, part supernatural entity, and fully something you do not want to run into in the dark back roads at 2 a.m.
Apparently.
So descriptions also vary, but most agree on a few key details. glowing eyes in the darkness, a low guttural growl that doesn't quite sound like a known animal, and the unsettling feeling that it's not just hunting, it's thinking. Because that's terrifying in itself.
No kidding. Good Lord.
So some legends trace the Wampus Cat back to Cherokee folklore. So in one version, it was once a woman who broke sacred laws, spying on a ritual meant only for men. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
As a punishment, she was cursed, transformed into this creature that now roams the forest, caught between human and beast, not quite belonging to either world. So other stories lean less into transformation and more into pure terror. So in these versions, the Wampus Cat is a predator, fast, silent, and nearly impossible to see until it's too late. Farmers in Appalachia have long told stories of livestock found mutilated in ways that don't quite match known predators. Hunters talk about being followed through the woods, hearing footsteps that stop the second they turn around. And then there's the eyes. It's always the eyes.
Yeah.
So people claim that they glow, not just reflecting light like a normal animal, like, you know, those little laser beams.
Mm-hmm.
But they almost emit the light. So they're like literally laser beams.
Ooh, right. Okay.
Watching from the tree lines, from the hills, and from just beyond where your flashlight reaches. So here's where things get interesting from a paranormal perspective. So the Wampus Cat doesn't behave like a typical cryptid. It shows up, disappears, seems to move between places almost too quickly. Some investigators have even suggested it might not be entirely physical, something more interdimensional, spiritual, a guardian, a warning, or something that simply exists in spaces that we just don't fully understand. And, well, let's be honest, Appalachia itself already has this reputation. So, again, this region is filled with stories of hauntings, strange lights, things in the woods that mimic voices. So when something like the Wampus Cat keeps showing up across generations, across states, across completely different communities, you have to wonder, is it just folklore, or is it one of those rare legends that stuck around because people keep seeing something they just couldn't explain? Right?
Well, maybe don't curse a woman and then she won't come back as some weird, crazy creature.
Some fucked up cat. Now, apparently, though, all these pictures of this cat, it doesn't have 4 legs. It has 6. What you gonna do with 6 legs? I have a hard time with 2. Like,
are they sure it's not just like, you know, when people get those like spider costumes for their pugs at Halloween time and it's just a bunch of legs and then the pugs running around? Have you seen those?
yes.
Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's like a Halloween costume on it. They have just too many legs.
Oh my God. Well, another thing, and this is really common up there, is something, and everybody knows pretty much, is a skinwalker.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure Hinsdale has those.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who don't know what a skinwalker is, okay. So when people talk about skinwalkers, most immediately think of the Navajo legend, which is specifically, and I'm going to screw this up, specifically the Yi Nalalushi, which is a witch.
Very good.
Did I say that right?
I think so. You're asking the wrong person who's like,
okay, but anyways, this is a witch capable of shape-shifting into animals. But here's where things get a bit interesting, because while the term skinwalker doesn't technically belong to Appalachian folklore, the idea absolutely shows up in some very unsettling ways. So throughout Appalachia, so stretching from places like West Virginia through Kentucky and Tennessee, you'll hear stories about something in the woods that isn't quite right. Locals won't always call it a skinwalker, but they'll describe things that walk like animals, sound like humans, and mimic voices in ways that will make your skin crawl.
Ooh.
So one of the most common experiences out of all this is hearing someone call your name from the woods.
Mm.
Yeah. So not just anyone. Your mom, your sibling, your friend, clear as day. But when you go to check, there's no one there. And if you know Appalachian lore, you know the rule. And I will go through all these rules later on too. If you hear something calling your name from the woods at night, no, you didn't.
Mhm.
Because whatever it is, it wants you to come closer. There are also stories of creatures that look like deer, but no, they're not. Wrong. Too tall, standing on two legs, or moving in ways that no natural animal should. People report, again, glowing eyes, twisted limbs, and movement that feels almost like something trying to pretend to be an animal but not quite getting it right. Also known as downtown Oshawa at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Also known as bath salts.
Fentanyl.
Mm.
Fentanyl fold. That's a whole other thing we could talk about. So some describe them as not deer. It's literally what they call them at. Not deer.
Remember all the deer we saw at Hinsdale? I'm pretty sure they were all deer, though. I don't know that I looked at them long enough to be like, except for
they
that
were
one
also
that's got
out
6
at
legs.
dusk, and that's usually when deer are the most active, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't need to hide from scary things; they can see
Mhm.
everything. Anyways, others say there's something far older. So footsteps circling cabins at night, scratching at walls, sometimes walking that could be heard just out of sight in the tree line, and sometimes voices that sound very familiar. So there are stories of hunters deep in the woods hearing their hunting partner call out, only to find them standing silently beside them, and no one spoke at all, but something did.
Yikes.
Like, that would be terrifying just in itself. So now, whether these are misidentified animals, psychological tricks played by isolation, or something genuinely unexplained, it depends. This depends on who you're asking and talking to. But out here in Appalachia, these stories aren't treated like campfire fun. They are literally warnings. And we will go through all those warnings afterwards. So are there skinwalkers in Appalachia? Maybe not in the traditional sense, but there's something out there that watches, mimics, and waits. And a lot of people who live there would tell you absolutely there are.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But actually, you know what? Skinwalkers I don't think are that terrifying, considering the next thing on my list is something called a pale crawler.
Oh my God.
This is what we all look like in Canada when we come out of our winter hibernation.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to look like next week when I'm in California.
Yeah, and then you'll
around the pool.
Like a piece of toast. Anyways. So, if you've ever heard of them before, pale crawlers are exactly what they sound like. Tall, emaciated, humanoid creatures with pale, almost grayish white skin. Literally us Canadians after a winter. So witnesses describe them as hairless, with long limbs, sunken or glowing eyes, and movements that are just wrong. So not human, not animal, but something in between. And here's where that gets creepy again. People just don't see them. They actually encounter them, which is terrifying. So most sightings come from the Appalachian Mountains region, obviously, stretching through places like Kentucky, West Virginia, and Tennessee, which are areas that are already rich with folklore, isolation, and generations of don't go into those woods warnings that people take very, very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So witnesses often report seeing these creatures late at night, usually near forests, back roads, or even just beyond the tree lines of their homes. And almost every account shares the same detail. The creature is crouched low to the ground watching. Because that's just terrifying.
Yeah.
So they're not attacking or getting ready to. They're not charging. They're just watching. And then it moves. And when it does move, that's when things get unsettling. So people describe these pale crawlers as incredibly fast, able to sprint on all fours or stand upright and move with this unnatural jerky motion. Some say their joints bend wrong, because that's just terrifying in itself.
Ew.
Others say they climb trees or crawl across terrains in ways that don't make sense for something that size. And you know, at that point, when you're watching something that's not moving right, you're not doing it, and you're literally watching because you're like, what?
Of course, because your brain's going, the fuck is happening
I
here?
know. But one of the most disturbing elements out of all of this is not the movement, it's the fact that there's silence. There's no sound, no footsteps, no breathing, nothing. It's just there. So, and then sometimes gone.
Whoa.
Because, you know, what's more terrifying than something disappearing in front of you? So now, depending on who you ask, there are a few theories about what these are actually. So some believe pale crawlers are a type of cryptid, an undiscovered species that lives deep within the cave systems and dense forests, only emerging at night. And again, if you think about Appalachia, it's full of cave networks, entire underground systems that we have barely explored. Others think they might be more paranormal or even interdimensional, so creatures that don't fully belong here, slipping in and out of our reality. And of course, there are comparisons to things like the Wendigo or even the Skinwalker, but most researchers will tell you that pale crawlers don't quite fit either category. They're not associated with possessions or transformations or mimicry in the same way. They're just something else. And their behavior, well, unlike a lot of creatures in folklore, pale crawlers don't always act aggressively. In fact, many encounters end with the creature simply retreating back into the woods, which kind of raises the very uncomfortable question, are we the ones being watched? Because that is terrifying, just to know that you're being watched by something somewhere. There are also reports that are rare but consistent of people hearing clicking noises, soft chittering, or even something mimicking distant sounds. Not quite voices, but enough to make you second guess what you're hearing. Like, when I hear chittering and chattering outside, I think of fucking squirrels.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
Like,
to be honest with you, like the amount of times I've been out and I'm like, who's walking? And it's just something rustling in the and then you see a little red squirrel, like,
yeah.
it sounds like something heavy is walking. Ironically, you'd never even hear a bear come up until it's right there. You'd
I
think
know.
you'd hear that thing crashing around. No, it's little shitty chipmunks and squirrels that are like
Dropping nuts from up at the top of the trees.
Exactly.
Like fucking boulders. Yeah. And last on my list of like weird things in these mountains is something called the hidden people or the holler folk. Because that's just terrifying. So the stories of the hidden people run deep through Appalachian folklore, especially in the more isolated mountain communities. Some describe them as human-like, but off. Again, that's typical for around our slightly wrong, like something trying to imitate us, but not quite getting it right. So I guess like a random, like a dog in a human suit, right? Like,
oh my God.
they are said to live deep in the hollers, which are those narrow valleys tucked between mountains where the sun hits late and leaves early. So places where sound carries strangely and silence feels heavier than it should. So people report hearing voices calling their names from the woods. Again, familiar voices, a friend, a sibling, a parent. But when they look around, they're all alone. So there's a long-standing, and I'll get more into that in a bit, warning in Appalachian culture. Again, if you hear your name called from the woods at night, no, you didn't. You ignore it, you don't answer, and you don't go looking, because the hidden people are known to mimic. So they can copy voices, sounds, even footsteps, and some say they'll throw rocks or make noises just to lure you deeper in the forest. And once you're off the path, well, not everyone finds their way back.
Oh dear.
First and foremost, if I hear a sound in the bush, I am not going to look for it. I'm not going to follow it. I am not going to investigate it.
No, exactly.
Path and I'm heading out.
If we were in the woods together and I heard you calling me, I'd be like, listen, you're lost. You're on your own now. The woods have you. I'll send help. I'm not coming to find you.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Exactly. Good luck. I'll
Literally.
keep the podcast going.
So some stories describe them as tricksters. Others describe them as much darker. There are accounts of people going missing for hours, sometimes days, only to come back confused, disoriented, and unable to explain where they have been. And then there are stories where these people don't come back, which is just as scary. What's even more interesting is how these stories overlap with older traditions, particularly from the Irish, Scottish, and Cherokee folklore. Because again, Appalachia is a kind of a melting pot of those cultures, like you said. So in Celtic lore, you have the Fae, so fairies, beings that lived alongside us but operate by completely different rules. They're known for luring people away, mimicking voices, and punishing those who disrespect boundaries. Again, that's what all elementals do. In Cherokee traditions, there are stories of a spirit being tied to the land, entities that aren't meant to be disturbed or followed. But so when settlers came to the Appalachian Mountains, they didn't just bring their traditions with them, they found something that matched them. And this is where things get a little unsettling, because when completely different cultures separated by oceans start describing the same kind of entities, you have to wonder, are these just stories or are these actually really warnings?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Scary people in the bush. Again, that's literally the entire bike path of Oshawa. But I'm going to start referring to Oshawa as the Appalachia region.
Oshalasha.
There's some.
Well,
I'm sure there's a wampus cat somewhere out there.
Oh, there's a wampus something roaming around.
There's lots of skinwalkers, tail crawlers, and these hidden people. That's for sure.
Now, so we have quite a wooded area on our property. Our cedar forest is very noisy. And if you're out at night, it can be very scary. It sounds like whistling. It can sound like someone's walking through the thing, but it's just because cedar trees are long and skinny, so they move and they like touch each other and they creak and they groan. And it can sound very, very scary.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how much of it is just, the trees talking. Either way, listen, I'm not going into those and being like, it's fine, it's the trees.
And
I'm
Mother
like,
Nature makes weird noises all the time too. The earth does shift, right? It doesn't always cause earthquakes, but it does shift, and the ground shift, and rocks fall, and trees fall, and the water changes, whatever, like that moves rocks. Like we are just so busy with the hustle and bustle that we don't hear it.
Exactly. Right? And then when you do hear it, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my weird and wonderful.
Love it. Well, I have two. Oh, my laptop just shut down. I have two infamous ghost stories related to the Appalachian area. The first is the Bell Witch. This is one of, if not the most famous hauntings of American folklore. The legend centers around a farm near the town of Adams in Tennessee in the Appalachian region of the United States. The haunting involved the family of farmer John Bell Sr. and lasted roughly from 1817 to 1821. Today, the area is still associated with paranormal activity, especially around what is now called Bell Witch Cave. So first reported events were in 1817. The haunting reportedly began in 1817 with strange sightings around the Bell farm. One evening, John Bell saw a bizarre creature in his cornfield described as a dog with a rabbit's head. Oh,
what the fuck?
I don't know.
That would be
when
awesome.
He shot at it, the creature vanished. Soon afterwards, the family began experiencing loud knocking on the doors and walls, scratching sounds coming from inside the house, chains dragging across the floors, and furniture moving by themselves. The Bell children also reported their blankets being pulled off of them, pillows thrown across the room, and invisible forces pinching and slapping them. At first, the Bells kept the events secret, but eventually neighbors started staying overnight and witnessing the activity for themselves. So the entity was rarely seen clearly, but it had several reported abilities. Witnesses claimed that it could speak in a female voice, mimic other people's voices, move objects without touching them, strike or physically attack people, and predict events in the future. Eventually, the spirit began talking openly and identified itself as Kate, which is not really a very scary name.
But
You think it would be like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hi, Kate.
the name's Kate.
It also claimed to be the spirit of Kate Batts, a woman who had a dispute with John Bell. Because of this, locals began calling Kate the Bell Witch. The Bell Witch allegedly interacted with many people. Visitors claimed the entity could answer questions and carry on conversations. One story says Andrew Jackson, before he became the president.
To be like, are we talking about like a former president here?
Yes,
Part is,
we sure
I
are.
do that, and I'm not even American.
So this was prior to him becoming a president. He visited the farm and experienced supernatural disturbances with his group. According to the legend, Jackson supposedly said, "I'd rather fight the British than fight the Bell Witch." What the F does that mean? Bring it on, Jackson. Another dramatic claim involves John Bell himself. The spirit allegedly predicted that it would kill him, and in 1820, he died after mysterious illness and poison was reportedly found nearby. Many blamed the Bell Witch. According to the legend, the entity eventually announced that it would leave the area, but promised to return years later. Some stories claim the spirit retreated into the Bell Witch Caves, which is still a tourist attraction to this day. Visitors occasionally report hearing voices and seeing strange lights near the cave. Researchers and historians have proposed several theories. Number one, poltergeist activity. Some investigators classify the Bell Witch as a poltergeist, a noisy spirit capable of moving objects. A family hoax. Some historians believe the events were exaggerated or even fabricated. Psychological phenomena. Another theory suggests the Bell family may have experienced mass hysteria or stress-induced hallucinations. And finally, paranormal entity. Believers argue the large number of witnesses suggests something genuinely unexplained happened here. Modern-day sightings. Even today, people visiting the area report strange experiences. Voices heard in empty woods, moving lights in fields, and unexplained sounds inside the cave. Some locals claim the spirit never truly left the area that she once called home. Now, I know of a few ghost hunting shows that go to the Appalachians and stay in cabins, and they always talk about witch. Oh, it's the witch. It's the witch. So I don't know if that's the one they're specifically talking of, but
If it is, she gets around.
well, everything's fucking witch. All right, the next story is the moon-eyed people.
That is terrifying, literally.
One of the strangest legends in Appalachian history. Unlike the Bell Witch, this story may involve an entire lost race of people. The earliest known accounts. Earliest written reference appears in 1797 in a book by Benjamin Smith Botton. He recorded a Cherokee story describing mysterious people who lived in the Appalachian Mountains before the Cherokee arrived. According to the legend, the Cherokee found the land already inhabited, and the inhabitants were called moon-eyed people because they could not see well in the daylight. Descriptions vary.
I can't see well in the daylight. My eyes
one
don't.
of them.
Oh my god, I wear sunglasses all the time. Oh fuck.
So descriptions vary, but common features include short height, pale or white skin, beards, large eyes, and extremely sensitive to sunlight. Because daylight hurt their eyes, they were said to live in caves and come out at night. Stories place them in several areas of the Appalachia, northern Georgia, western North Carolina, and eastern Tennessee. One location strongly associated with them is Fort Mountain in Georgia. A mysterious 850-foot stone wall on the mountain is sometimes attributed to the Moon-Eyed People. Some versions of the legend say the Cherokee eventually fought a war with the Moon-Eyed People. I feel like that wouldn't be really hard because you would just go in with lights and they'd be like, ah, and then you just slaughter them. Ta-da. Because the strange people were sensitive to light, the Cherokee attacked them during a full moon.
Oh wow.
But that's
Wow.
still, when the brightness blinded them, damn. After losing the war, the Moon-Eyed People supposedly fled west, went underground, or disappeared completely. Historians have proposed several explanations. Number one, a lost indigenous culture. Some researchers think the legend may refer to an ancient group like the Adena culture that lived in the region thousands of years ago. An albino population. Others speculate that there were people with albinism, which causes light sensitivity. Early European settlers. Another theory links them to a supposed expedition by the Welsh prince Madog Aib Owain Gwynedd,
Good.
who allegedly reached America in the 1800s. All these people, little white, pale people with big eyes. That's weird. So mythical folklore beings. Many historians believe the story is simply folklore created to explain mysterious ruins and structures in the mountains. Unlike the Bell Witch, modern sightings of the Moon People are extremely rare. However, Appalachian folklore still contains stories of small, pale figures seen near caves, strange voices in mountain forests at night, and tiny footsteps near campsites. Many locals connect these stories with other Appalachian legends about little people living in the mountains. Why these stories persist? Well, the Appalachia is a perfect place for folklore because it has dense forest, isolated communities, ancient mountains, and caves and abandoned mines. For centuries, stories were passed down through oral storytelling traditions, and even today, locals sometimes say the mountains remember things people forgot.
Dun, dun, dun. Listen, I have big eyes. I have pale skin.
Do you have a beard? Well,
I don't have
know.
a beard. That's the one thing I don't have. And my eyes will not reflect the light outside because they're blue. So I'm blind anytime it's light outside. Maybe I'm a moon-eyed person.
Maybe
Listen,
you're a descendant of the Moon-Eyed People.
maybe. But listen, if you, even for us, like when we're in a dark basement investigating and we go up to where some light is,
Oh,
we're all
of
like,
course.
it's like being a vampire. You're like,
Yeah. Do you know how many times I come out from my massage room into like my reception area? I'm like,
yeah,
because you've just been so dark for so long. And
yeah.
then, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I completely understand the moon-eyed people.
Yeah. So if they are just, indigenous people from the land and they just happen to inhabit the caves because it was easier for them to do that, of course they're
Yeah,
going to
your
be a little
body
more
adapts.
sensitive to sun.
Yeah, or any
That's
type of light, really. But
that's what I was thinking
I like
when I
how they
was
were
reading
attacked
this.
under a full moon. And meanwhile, my logical brain was like, there wasn't any clouds in the sky. Like, how did they know it was going to be a full moon or that they were going to be blinded? Like, it
But
wasn't raining?
I feel like the moon is a different light to the sun. So I would have thought they'd be like a lot more alert and like working with the moon because they're moon-eyed people. So they'd be like, I see more in the moon. I don't know. But either way, I think it's pretty ingenious. They're like, we'll just use some light and attack them.
Good
just
thing, they
go in
didn't have
with
flashlights back
torches.
then. Yeah, they
Yeah,
could have
like,
just shot a flashlight in their face if flashlights existed back then. They
exactly.
would have been fudged.
Yeah, they would literally be like deer. Who were like, whoa.
Yeah. Except deer just look at you because they're like, what the hell? These people would be like, I can't
Yeah.
see.
Oh, eyes me. I just assume that's how they talk.
Maybe. They probably just clicked and clacked.
Yeah.
Why everything clicks and clacks out there. Anyways, let's get into some rules of the Appalachia.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, literally people follow these to a T. And a lot of them, you know what? I completely understand. So the first one, if you hear something, no, you didn't. This would be a problem with our team. Especially Ryan. Anyways, so if you hear a voice in the
especially
woods,
Jay.
well,
Because remember when we were at
Hinsdale?
Wildwood?
Oh,
At
Wildwood.
Wildwood, and you heard the whistling. And Jay's like, oh, and goes to whistle back. And you and Ryan had to literally like shove a sock in his mouth to stop him
We'll get into
from whistling back.
I will get into that. So if you hear something, rule number 1, if you hear something, no, you didn't. So if you hear voices in the woods, especially someone calling your name, you do not respond because people say it might not be human. It might be mimicking someone you know. And if you answer, it knows you heard it. So just don't. Number 2, don't go into the woods at night. I don't go into the woods during the day unless I'm with someone. Well, wait, I shouldn't. I don't do it anymore. I used to. I used to go into the woods at night by myself too. That's a different story. Anyways, this one rule is repeated a lot. And it's not just because animals are getting lost. Locals will tell you the woods feel different at night. Things move that shouldn't. And whatever is out there prefers the dark. Number 3, if you feel watched, you probably are. That gut feeling, don't ignore it. So Appalachian lore leans heavily on instinct. So if the forest suddenly goes quiet, if the air starts to feel wrong, and your body is telling you to leave, you leave immediately. You don't wait, you go. Number 4, never whistle in the woods or at night. So this one shows up in a lot of folklore traditions, but Appalachia takes it seriously. And why do you not do it? Well, whistling can call something or alert something to your presence. So basically, don't fucking advertise yourself.
Exactly. Don't make a sound.
Yeah, don't fucking do it. Number 5, don't follow lights. If you see lights in the woods, don't chase them, don't investigate, and don't assume it's a person. Some say they're spirits, others say something pretending to be helpful. Either way, mind your business and go the other way. Number 6, if something looks like a person, look closer. Mimicry is a huge theme in the Appalachian stories. So things might look human, sound human, and even act familiar like a human, but something will always be off. So movements that are too stiff, voices slightly wrong, and smiles that are just too wide. Because that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Number 7 is don't take what isn't yours. Rocks, bones, strange objects. People warn if you take something from the woods, something might follow you home. So respect the land or deal with the consequences. And that rule actually goes to any place that you're at. Like, don't go to,
I agree.
We'll say Wildwood. Don't go to Wildwood and take a brick. Like, don't go to someplace and take a stone or a piece of wood. Just leave it. If you really want to get a ghost, go to an antique store and buy something.
Here's the rule. If you are going to take something, you have to provide an offering of sort of decent value, shall we say. So if you want to take a rock, you have to leave something in return that you're paying your way for. I would just say don't fucking take anything.
Yeah, don't take anything. Number 8, stay on the path. This one blends real survival advice with something darker. Getting lost
no
is easy,
kidding.
but people say sometimes the woods help you get lost. So like the terrain itself doesn't want you to leave. So just stay on the fucking path.
Yeah.
Number 9, if you see something unnatural, no, you didn't. This rule comes up a lot in the storytelling culture. So you don't acknowledge it, you don't react, and you don't give it attention because attention equals an invitation. And last but not least, number 10, trust locals over logic. So Appalachian culture is deeply rooted in generational knowledge. So if a local says, don't go up that holler, you don't ask why. You just don't go. Literally.
Yeah. Well, it's not common anymore.
No. No, and I think some of the stuff we would be like, I'm totally not listening to that, and I'm gonna go follow that fucking light. Or some of us would be like, what the fuck was that over there? And they would be gone.
That's true too.
Or
Very
then you
true.
have some people like Ryan who'd be like, oh, I'm fucking out of here, and he'd be running the other way.
Oh God.
And the rest of us would still be standing there.
It's so true. It's
But,
very true.
But I think we definitely, I don't know, just my thought. And from watching all these shows too, we should definitely maybe find a cabin in Appalachia and spend the night.
Well, it seems like there's quite a few Airbnb ones now,
I know.
apparently. So, okay.
Totally.
Maybe one like my picture. It looks like some. Oh, there's a little guy behind me. It looks totally like.
Maybe we should just go find
somewhere
an
we would
alpaca
stay.
farm out there and spend the night.
Not if they look like these alpaca. Look at them. They're
Listen,
like, come
that one just looks
to
like
us.
he's having a bad day. He's like, what the fuck?
Well, it's a ghost alpaca.
All alpacas usually look miserable and mean.
I think alpacas look cutesies. It's the llamas that look like they're gonna
I think they all look the
fuck you
same.
shut up. No, not at all. Llamas, like alpacas, I think are more fuzzy and fleecy and whatever. Whereas
Well,
llamas are like longer and they're like, ew.
I
Whatever.
was gonna say, I think llamas. I know they both spit, but I think alpacas, their fur is used for yarn and stuff. I don't think people use llama fur.
No.
I know how they use alpaca fur to make yarn.
I don't really know what the use of a llama is.
I don't know either.
Because you
And
can't
now it's
ride
really
it.
off topic.
We are, and we need to stay on because I gotta go.
I know, but that's our Appalachia episode, I guess.
And alpaca as well.
Yeah, our alpaca mountain.
Yeah. For
No.
the record, if you see an alpaca in the woods, no, you didn't.
If I saw an alpaca in the woods, I'd be like,
no, you didn't.
didn't see shit. That's what I tell everybody. I didn't see shit. But if you live in the Appalachian region, or you've been to Appalachia, or you've had an encounter of some weird shit that you didn't see, but you did, and you want to tell us, we'd love to hear it. So you can send us an email at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. So PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. Or you can post on our Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. What else? Or YouTube. I was like, what else do we-
We're everywhere.
Yeah, we are. But yeah, so we are off to, I don't know, this week, but we have an investigation coming up. Still, I hope. Gotta reconfirm that. So we'll be doing that. But anyways, that's it for us this week. Next week's podcast.
Wah, wah, wah.
It's gonna be fun. In Penguin Time Machine.
Penguin Time Machine.
I'm just should just use that as the background.
Oh, 100%.
Anyways. Well, have a great week, everyone. We're off.
Yes, bye.
On another
Bye,
adventure of
everyone.
weirdness. Bye.
Peace.